Organic chemistry lab was stinky, and it was lonely. We were required to do experiments by ourselves, no group work, no partners. I loved science, but I also loved socializing. I loved jokes and I loved listening to music. But in this lab, we barely spoke. The music was the hum of these fume hoods that were sucking the toxic fumes away from us, and the only jokes were about the people finishing last. One afternoon, we were getting ready to perform our first distillation. My uncertainty had seized me like a vice grip, and I could feel myself sweating through my lab coat, even though it was cool in the lab. My focus carried me through, though. The pieces came together, and I began to sit taller on my stool. And eventually, I pushed the stool away as I stood and reached up to put that final clamp of the distillation apparatus in place. I stepped back, and I even felt a twinge of a smile on my face. Just then, I heard the booming voice of the professor across the lab. "Vern's a fine young man," he proclaimed, and they sat over there chatting a bit more. And my confidence grew as I waited the professor to come by my lab bench and give me the thumbs up too. I knew it wouldn't be that good old boys kind of vibe, but I did not expect what happened next. I felt the whoosh of his lab coat as he whisked on past behind me. He took no notice of me nor any of my work. I was invisible. I gazed with dead eyes at my apparatus that was perfectly poised for seamless distillation. I knew it was perfect. So the only conclusion that I could come to that day was the thing that was wrong was me. Sounds like I hated organic chemistry lab, doesn't it? Actually, I loved it. In terms of the science, I was smitten. My incessant curiosity carried me through the rest of my studies. I forged ahead and I got a PhD in chemistry. But what if I hadn't had as much of a spark that carried me through? How many students out there are crushed with just one careless act like I had that one day? I believe that every student should have their big and small successes celebrated and to be seen and to be heard as their curiosity grows. So now, as a professor and educator, it's not just the content that I teach. I purposefully combine solid content with communication and community. My students get to learn and enjoy not just the science, but grow as scientists together with fun and encouragement. I have created a space where no one is invisible, no one is ignored, and no one leaves without the feeling that they are empowered to be a scientist.